Hi there, I'm Dave Litton, and a very warm welcome to my Microsoft project templates for Prince2 projects. I've designed these to be the perfect framework for all of your Prince2 project endeavours when using the Microsoft Project 2010 planning tool. I've designed these around the 7 Prince2 processes so that you can tailor them for any of your Prince2 projects. My design philosophy here was to give you a set of templates for most standard types of structure of project, all built upon the Prince2 methodology, but also to include simple plug-in modules so that you can do plug and play, if you will, for the more dynamic parts of Prince, such as managing issues and risks and management by exception. The way in which I've designed this is to give you, first of all, a Microsoft project plan structure which includes the product-based planning template. With this you can plug this into any of the other templates. For example, there's a Microsoft Project delivery stage template. You'll recall, of course, that a Prince2 project has at least one delivery stage. Microsoft Project's very good at what it does, and it does indeed have various text fields where you can store textual information about particular projects. But in my opinion, it should not be used for the main documentation that would normally accompany a Prince2 project. And for that reason, I've designed a set of fully editable Microsoft Word templates for the main documents that you would need to use during a Prince2 project. I give you a standard project structure consisting of 3 delivery stages, plus of course the initiation stage and the pre-project process of starting up a project. You also get the starting up a project and initiating a project process templates, so you can use this again as a bolt-on, if you will, to the front end of your projects. You also get a Microsoft project template for a 2 delivery stage type of project. And the simplest and smallest of Prince2 projects will consist merely of the initiation stage plus 1 delivery stage. So I've got you covered with that particular module as well. Now, projects come in various shapes and sizes, and every single project will be unique. For this reason, I've also included a more detailed work package template within a standard delivery stage, and you have this as an extra template as well. There are 3 main registers within Prince2, the quality register, the issue register, and the risk register, and I've set up these using Microsoft Excel, again so that you can apply these when planning and delivering your Prince2 projects using Microsoft Project. One of the strengths of Prince2 is the fact that it has management by exception, and you would not normally want to use this, of course, unless tolerance was forecast to be exceeded. So you pretty much need a plug-in, if you will, for management by exception should you ever need it within your project. Much like a subroutine, if you will. Well, I've got you covered. I've included a template for management by exception as well. And of course, one of the main aspects of Prince2 is its ability to manage change and issues. So I've included a change control module as well as, of course, managing a stage boundary which you would need to use in the event of tolerance being forecast to be exceeded. So that's what you're going to find in this particular toolkit. But before we go any further, I'd just like to take you back a little and remind you about the structure of Prince2, as it will help you to see the design philosophy that I've used here. You'll recall that there are several levels of Prince2 plans, starting at the highest level, corporate or program level. Now this is outside of the scope of Prince2, and it's therefore outside of the scope of what I've included. But I'd like to draw your attention to this as being the highest level of plan. Coming within Prince, you have the first stage plan, which of course is always the initiation stage. And this would cover the creation of the project initiation documentation and of course planning for the stage after that, which would be the first delivery stage. In small projects, it may be the first and last delivery stage. The project plan, of course, itself, created within the initiating a project process. This provides the business case with your project costs and timescales and identifies the major control points, for example, the end of management stages and key milestones. It's actually used by the project board as a baseline to monitor progress. You'll also know that Prince2 has a standard plan template included, And that's the reason why I've designed a module just for the production of any plans within Prince2, as well as utilizing the product-based planning technique. Every Prince2 project has at least one delivery stage, and this of course takes the project plan and plans down to the level of detail needed for day-to-day control of the project manager during a stage. You require one of these for each management stages, and it's produced near the end of the current stage. These are often created in parallel with the team plans. In fact, the reverse is true, in that while you're designing a delivery stage plan, you would be considering the team plans that may accompany them. Now, team plans are optional. They're produced by the team manager, and these describe exactly how work packages should be executed. And as I've said here, created in parallel normally with stage plans at stage planning times. The project manager will give out work packages, and these team plans may be optionally used to help agree that a work package is realistic and feasible, and also as a baseline against which to track work package progress. The other type of plan is not a different level at all. It's called an exception plan, and because Prince2 uses management by exception, these will be prepared at an appropriate level, describing the actions to recover from a tolerance deviation, so that each time an exception plan is approved by the project board, it replaces the previous current stage plan and takes over, if you will, for the remainder of that stage. All of these levels and types of plans are covered by one plan template within the Prince2 method, and therefore it's covered by one template here for use with Microsoft Project 2010. Now, the Prince2 planning sequence, again, just as a backdrop to allow you to see how I've designed these Microsoft project templates, is you'll have the initiation stage plan that, once approved by the project board, acts as a baseline against which the initiation stage is managed. During the initiation stage, the project plan forms part of the project initiation documentation, and when the PID is approved, so too is the project plan, and it's used as a baseline against which to monitor progress or otherwise of the project. During the initiation stage, the stage plan for the first delivery stage is also created and needs to be approved. When that happens, this now is baselined and used as a reference against which to monitor and control the first delivery stage. Within each stage plan, this will be broken down to at least one work package. The simplest stage plan may just have one work package, but very often there'll be several, and such work packages may be given out one after the other, or in parallel, or any combination. Within each work package, as a minimum, there must always be at least one product, and hence at least one product description. However, a typical work package may have several products. Again, the creation of these products may happen one after the other within a work package, or in parallel, or some combination. And you can be sure that I've taken this into consideration when designing my Microsoft project templates. After that, we'd create the next delivery stage, if indeed there is a second, or a third, or a fourth, and the same occurs in that each stage plan consists of at least one work package with at least one product description in it. Now, the Prince2 managing sequence goes something like this, and it's important you understand this as a backdrop. When the first work package within a delivery stage is given out, the project manager needs to compare actual progress against the approved stage plan, and hence determine the progress of the stage. Whenever appropriate during a stage, the project manager needs to keep an eye on the project overall progress. For example, when looking at options, should an issue be raised, the project plan should be checked to see the impact on that as well. However, at the end of each stage, the project plan is updated to reflect current progress and future forecasts. Down at the lowest level, of course, the project manager will be monitoring the work package progress throughout the stage. The specialist team will give the project manager regular checkpoint reports, again to provide the actual information, forecast, updates of risks and issues within the work package, and so on. Going back to our delivery sequence, the project manager would take this actual information and compare it against the baseline plan, the current stage plan if you will, and determine what the variances are. It's these variances that would drive the project manager's future forecasts, whether there's a need to take any form of corrective action to bring the forecast back in line with the plan, and of course the project manager would need to manage risks and issues on an ongoing basis throughout the stage, and of course the project. Whenever the situation arises, if at all, the project manager may need to escalate risks and issues, and he or she would do that via raising an exception report. And you'd be correct that all three of these reports are included in my templates. On a regular basis, as laid down by the project board, the project manager would need to create highlight reports reporting progress or otherwise up to the project board. The basis for all this information is of course Microsoft Project, because it's here where the actuals will be captured, where the stage plan template will be updated to reflect real progress and future forecast, as well as progress made on the work packages. When carrying out impact analysis on issues, for example, you can use Microsoft Project as a basis for looking at different options and their impacts, for example in terms of cost, time and resources. So continuing with the job of the project manager would need to authorize work packages during a stage, giving them out in some sequence, and ultimately receiving completed work packages when all of the products have passed their quality reviews and have been approved. Ultimately, of course, the project manager is responsible for reviewing work package status on a regular basis while work is underway, and of course the checkpoint report, again, as we've mentioned already, is an important part of doing this. The project manager will be managing issues and risks on an ongoing basis, taking corrective action whenever necessary, and should it be required, to escalate upwards using management by exception and the use of tolerances. Again, you'll discover in my Microsoft Project templates I've included tolerance calculations. And of course the other general thing the project manager needs to do is to communicate, and the highlight report to the project board is one aspect of that. However, as laid out by the PRINCE2 communication management strategy, there are many other aspects of communication the project manager would need to undertake, and it's not my intent to cover all of these here. Indeed, the idea of these Microsoft Project files is that they can be edited easily, cut and paste, extra information added as and when necessary. What's important is you have a structured framework upon which to use PRINCE2 within Microsoft Project. Just to touch on some other aspects of project management, it may well be that the project in question has involvement with contracts, negotiation with third parties, managing the team and so on and so forth. All of these human aspects will vary from project to project. The important point being is that you need a solid framework upon which to create your Microsoft Project 2010 project plans. Just to reinforce the structure and sequence here, I'd like to quickly take you through what happens within the controlling a stage process. At the heart, if you will, is capturing actual progress, as I've already touched on in the previous slide, reviewing the work package status to determine how progress is going on the creation of the products. Checkpoint reports are an input here, of course, as well as whenever a completed work package occurs, the project manager will use that to determine the status of the stage. The way in which the status of the stage can be determined is of course by forecasting the remainder of the stage, in essence reviewing the top level stage status. The stage plan is used as the baseline reference as actuals are entered into it, and of course the forecast occurs by looking at those remaining activities within the stage plan. Microsoft Project here is a vital tool in allowing you to forecast accurately. Now let's look at some of the actions the project manager may need to take on a regular basis. Certainly reporting highlights regularly to the project board, authorizing new or modified work packages as the occasion arises. Remember, work packages may not simply be in series where when one is completed the next one is given out. You may give out several work packages at once, and indeed as a result of some issues and risks you may find that work packages need to be modified in some way. Indeed, one of the major actions the project manager would need to undertake is taking corrective action. Whenever a problem occurs, taking corrective action may need authorizing new work packages or modifying existing ones. During the life of a stage, issues and indeed risks may arise throughout the stage. And to this end, the project manager would use both the risk and issue register to help manage such situations. Taking an issue as an example, suppose a request for change had been raised, the project manager would need to look at this and determine what the impact would be if this particular issue were implemented. To do that, this needs to be plugged into the forecast of the entire stage, and then based on what the outcome would look like, the project manager needs to take some form of corrective action. It may well be as a result of an issue that it's clear that if this change were implemented, it would cause tolerance to be exceeded, in which case the project manager would raise this as an exception report for the attention of the project board. How can Microsoft Project help, and what have you got in terms of the templates? Well, of course, we have a work package template, and you'll find in detail, as I shall share with you later in the video, exactly how the work package structure has been set up. I've given you two particular models, one for a simple work package and one for a more detailed work package. I've given you the stage plan template as well as a full working structure of a typical Prince2 stage, and that will of course include using Microsoft Project to carry out forecasting. As I've already said, work package templates have been included and you can modify them within my templates. You can add new and extra activities, change the number of products being created in each work package, and so on and so forth. Taking corrective action whenever it's needed is easy with Microsoft Project because you can pre-plan what actions would be necessary to have the desired effect by doing what-if analysis within the Microsoft Project templates that I'll give you. I've also included fully working issue and risk registers to accompany your Microsoft Project templates, and as you might imagine, there's a module on capturing and examining issues and risks. In terms of escalation, I've given you an exception report template as well as the module that feeds directly from the issues and risks in creating an exception report using the managing a stage boundary process. Let's look then at a couple of examples of a Prince2 project structure. Here's a timeline travelling left to right. You'll be familiar with starting up a project is used pre-project, where the project brief is created and the plan for the initiation stage. This triggers the formal start of a Prince2 project, where in the initiation stage we'd use the process initiating a project to produce the project initiation documentation. Also during the initiation stage, we'll create the next stage plan using the managing stage boundary process. This would bring us to the first end stage assessment. All of these aspects are included within each Microsoft Project template. The first delivery stage occurs where we use the controlling a stage process with the managing product delivery process. I've embedded the controlling a stage process activities within each Microsoft Project template. Within each stage there'll be at least one work package with some form of combination of product creation. These are merely diagrammatic to show that you may have one or more, and that the sequence and series of products within each work package may be some series or parallel combination. At the end of the first delivery stage, if there are further stages, then managing a stage boundary will be used and an end stage assessment held to decide whether or not the project should continue to the next stage. If we're just assuming 3 stages, then this would be the final delivery stage, very similar to previous, except for the fact that we would use closing a project process in the final stage. And yes, a module on closing a project has been included within your Microsoft Project 2010 templates. That would bring us to the finish or close of the project. I've done exactly the same thing for the simplest option that you could ever imagine. Again, you'll have a full template for the pre-project activities as well as the initiation stage activities as before, and assuming just one delivery stage, which will be the first and final one, in which case you'd use closing a project as the process within that. I've given you a template for such a project. Of course, you can design as few or as many stages as you need, particularly with my Microsoft Project templates, as you can easily bolt on more if you will. If you know how to cut and paste, then it's that easy to build these modules in and very quickly come up with a realistic and feasible Microsoft Project plan based upon Prince2. So let's look at the building blocks that you'll be getting. You'll be getting pre-project, starting up a project, and the initiation stage, using the initiating a project process, along with the creation of the PID and ultimately assembling it with all of the parts of the PID. this has all been built in to your standard modules. You'll have a delivery stage module with at least one work package in it, and for those interim delivery stages, managing a stage boundary process included. You'll also have a module for final delivery stages, along with one or more work packages and the closing a project process. Supporting all of these, I've given you automatic time and cost tolerance calculations built into a standard Microsoft project table. Indeed, I've created a super table which combines many of the cost and work fields as well as the baseline tracking fields and some very useful filters which I'll cover later. The other modules you've got is one on product-based planning contained within the creating a plan module, along with issue and change control and of course management by exception. As I've mentioned previously, I've also done this for the simplest of all projects. I think it's important because Prince mentions that it should be tailored and applied with a lightness of touch. If you have a small simple project, then the smallest and simplest it can get to is just having one delivery stage. And I've embedded that as well and given you a full template along with the supporting modules as I've shown here. At its most extreme, you could use Microsoft Project for simply personal assignments, in which case you can cut and paste whatever aspects you need and create very quickly a fully working template file. So in summary, my Microsoft Project multiple stage templates can cover your needs from a simple single delivery stage to multiple delivery stages, as I've shown here. Okay, let me just quickly summarize the other templates that you'll be getting. You'll be getting all of these document templates in Microsoft Word, fully tailorable by yourself, so you've got all the reports covered. As you can see here with this small excerpt, each Word document is fully tailorable. You'll also, of course, get Excel register templates, and I've included 3 of those, and you can see a quick snapshot here showing how each is set up so you can customize it for each project. I've entered hundreds of blank entries, so it's very easy for you to fill in the information on each issue, ditto for each risk, and use the quality register for each quality check entry and track it through to its full completion. When we look at the modules themselves shortly, you'll see that you can combine as many of these modules as you wish to make up a complete and customized file for your needs. I've even included a customized Prince2 product flow diagram for those of you that wish to use it. And as I've mentioned briefly in the previous slide, you get extended tables with built-in automatically calculating tolerance fields for time and cost. So here's what you get: a series of modules, including within the resource sheet, I've set up a project management team, which includes an extra assignment column so that as people come on board, you can check they've been assigned to the relevant roles. You have a starting up a project process, issue and change control, the initiation stage and managing stage boundary processes, the delivery stages, the delivery and closing a project, and management by exception. You can mix and match all of these modules. And what I haven't mentioned yet is that each activity or task within all of these modules has a set of notes that I've included to help guide you on the type of activities you need to undertake within each task. I also give you any guidance or advice where necessary. As I've already mentioned, I've created extra fields, in particular a product field, where you can identify and filter if necessary any of the activities which relate to the creation of Prince2 products. I've also got work package fields, very useful for reporting on work package progress within a stage. I've got 2 of the tolerances covered: duration percentage tolerance and cost percentage tolerance. These are automatically created against the baseline sign-off, and these tolerances will be reflected activity, at product, at work package, at stage and at product levels. The basic structure, as I've covered in previous slides, shows how each project is split up into starting up a project, initiating a project, managing a stage boundary, and within each delivery stage, here shown by the Microsoft Project Summary bars, of course, you have a series, a parallel combination of work packages leading up to the final delivery stage where you would close a project. You have a creating a plan template, which includes the product-based planning aspects, and management by exception, which includes the managing a stage boundary process so that you can cut and paste this module should you ever determine that an issue or risk would cause you to forecast that tolerance is to be exceeded. I've also included a more detailed version of creating a plan, including product-based planning. To remind you again, all tasks have built-in Prince2 notes, advice and guidance. You'll notice that I've set by default all tasks to 1 day duration, so it's easy for you to apply resources and to estimate the accurate planned duration from the very start. You have both a simplified work package as well as a more complex work package and a subroutine on issue and change control, which you can cut and paste into your project when and if necessary. The more detailed work package, as shown here, is more suitable for where you have a more complex or high risk or more important work packages, and you would use this as a basis for customizing it for your purposes.
So, if you ever want to master Microsoft Project 2010 up to the level of the official Microsoft Project Professional Exam 70-178 syllabus, then you will want to get your hands on my Microsoft Project 2010 Video Mastery System that comes complete with my fully editable Microsoft Project Prince2 process file system, plus the entire set of Prince2 Appendix A management templates, all of them editable in Microsoft Word, including fully editable Prince2 reports, logs and registers in Excel. And these are accompanied by my detailed guidance on the source and quality criteria information for each. And the only way for you to get your hands on my unique video-based Microsoft Project 2010 Mastery System is to hop on over to my website at www.msproject2010primer.com and grab your copy. Remember that the Prince2 editable files are fully compatible with both Microsoft Project 2010 and Microsoft Project 2013. My name is Dave Litton, and I hope you have found this information useful. So grab my Microsoft Project 2010 Mastery System, and you and I will meet again on the inside. Bye for now.